is the one thing that you will find entrepreneurs understand the most about. It's about a word called promise. Money is a promise. It's called a promissory note. Promise is where the government promises to pay you a certain amount of something as a result of your money. You saw back in 1972, it used to be gold. The money you could have could be swapped in for gold, whereas now you can't do that anymore. Now you can only swap it for tax credits, that's it. Right? It's all based on debt today. But the point is, you cannot have power over money simply by trying to have power over money, because money has power over us as a result of two things. And I'm going to show you what these two things are. The power of money comes from those of us here who either have this thing here called a lack of trust. And a lack of trust is one way that money gets power. And a second way it gets power is through something called a trust of lack. What does this mean? Lack of trust means there was a time when communities trusted each other and you didn't actually need money. You could actually go down to the corner store and you could say, hey Jack, I want to have 2 loaves of bread, a can of baked beans, and some butter, and I'll pay you next week. And Jack would have said, no problem, Bob, that's fine, because he trusted you. You could even take the products and go, pay him later, it's okay. Now, today, you go into the corner shop and you go, hey Jack, I'll have 2 loaves of bread and I'll have baked beans and some butter. And the guy says, my name's not Jack. we today do not have the trust that we had in the past. And as a result of that, we all think we need the money because people trust the money more than they trust us. Until you become an entrepreneur who focuses at what you're meant to be and grow your own circle of trust. And from that circle of trust, those people in that circle, from the people who are going to finance your businesses to the people who are going to support you in your teams, they trust you enough. Every one of these people print money in their own way. What I mean by that is someone like a creator can print money by the way that they give equity in their company. Someone who's like a star can print money by having license agreements. Someone who's like a deal maker can have money by simply having mergers and acquisitions where they understand how to put the right contracts in place to make money. This one here, a trader, can simply trade promises. When you buy a stock on the stock market, you don't need to wait for the certificate to come through for you to own it. Just by having it digitally is a promise that you have it. You can already trade that on. In fact, if you trade options, options are just a promise on a promise. We're just trading promises. But for too many of us, because we don't have that level of trust, we have to think we have to start by having money. Or we think that money gets its value from a trust of lack, which means that the government has federal reserves which are in place to make sure that there's always not enough. If there's too much money, it loses its value. There's currently something happening with the US dollar, which is that because they're printing so much of that money, it's losing its value. Let me show you something which you might find quite interesting. And this is an image from the Federal Reserve. If we go back for a moment to the slides, this image here